In the world of go big with the large SUVs, and you don't want to go to the Suburban, the best blend would be what we have today. Morgan Chevy has given us the 2023 Chevrolet Tahoe LS in the jet black. We have the upgraded 22-inch wheels, the driver assist package. Inside, room for 8. One of the largest in the segment for cargo capacity unless you're looking at the Suburban, with rivals like your Wagoneer, your Nissan Armada, the Toyota Sequoia, but everyone's going to a twin turbo engine where the Tahoe still has a V8 for your standard powertrain, and it still has all the capabilities for off-roading with the Z71 package. If you want the street package, you'll go to the RST. I'm Anthony from Hawkeye Rides. I'm going to go over all the specs and details starting now. The new Chevrolet Tahoe definitely has the blend of big and powerful, but it's not the widest. The Wagoneer will be the widest in the category. Ground clearance around 8 inches, and it goes up to 10 inches with the adaptive suspension, and they also have magnetic ride control. These are all options that you can opt for that. We don't have it on the LS today. LED headlamps, daytime running, going into your back with your LED tail lamps. I like that we got the running boards in between because that makes it a lot easier to get inside because the vehicle is very tall. In the back, we got the chrome that goes around the lower trim, and you got those two little vents on both sides that basically mimic an exhaust. Your roof rails are going to be in the silver. You get the chrome touch that makes more or less like an L shape on both sides with a long proportioned hood that flows up just a touch so it's easier to see the front bumper from the interior. For the grille, it's going to be with the gloss black. We have the chrome that's surrounding that bow tie, and you get the chrome on the lower trim, functional side curtains, and I do like how beefy it is, because when you're looking at a Chevrolet, you're really wanting it to stand out of class, and that's exactly what it does. 22-inch upgraded 6-spoke. Standard would be a 20-inch wheel. Behind it, 13.5 inches is the disc reading. The rear at 13.6, it's ventilated. The front suspension is independent with coil-over shocks and a stabilizer bar. Available 4-corner air control and magnetic ride control. The rear is an independent multi-link with the coil-over shocks and the stabilizer bar. A length at 210.7 inches with a wheelbase at 120.9 inches. This is 15 inches smaller than the Suburban, but it has more towing capacity. If you're comparing it to the Wagoneer, that's going to be the longest in the segment. It is going to be longer than the Toyota Sequoia and the Nissan Armada, but the smaller wheelbase of the three. New Super Cruise is now available on the Premier and the High Country. The Z71 package would be a standard 4-wheel drive with the skid plate, all-terrain tires, recovery hooks, distinctive black and red exterior elements with the off-roading suspension with Rancho twin tube shocks, 2-speed transfer case, automatic locking rear differential, hill descent control, and the rear is all decked out in the same color as the body, so it keeps a nice appearance for the rear. Towing up to 8,400 pounds, and that's what we have with this 5.3 liter. A payload at over 1,800 pounds. A rear trek at 68.3. You got your spare tire tucked underneath. Going inside, cargo starts at 25.5 cubic feet. We have some storage underneath the floor with a 12 volt. The third row bench splits at a 60-40 split, increasing the cargo to 72.6 cubic feet. Split fold the second row at a 60-40 split, increasing the cargo to 122.9 cubic feet. That's 6 cubic feet more than the Wagoneer, plus we have that 5.3 V8 underneath here. Let's go inside, start it up so you can hear that exhaust note. There's nothing like a Chevrolet Tahoe exhaust note, and they back the performance with a 5.3 liter V8 producing 355 horsepower and 383 pound-feet of torque that's paired to a 10-speed automatic transmission, achieving 15 to 20 mpgs. That's good for a 0 to 60 around 7.5 seconds with a quarter mile at 15.8 seconds. It's not going to be the fastest in the category, but it is going to be the most elegant on the exterior styling. You're going to get the best payload, best cargo, and what you see in the interior of what you get for the price. It is definitely a bang for the buck. Let me know in the comments what you think about the 2022 Chevy Tahoe LS as we go into the interior, go over the tech, and take this for our test run. Entering inside the Chevrolet Tahoe, easy because we got the running boards. Because we don't have a pano or a moonroof, you get almost 2 inches more in headroom at 42.3 inches. Legroom 44.5 inches, which is the best amongst all of the rivals. So if you're really looking for a lot of space and you got more interior room, bucket front seats, cloth upholstery with the contrast stitching, 10-way power adjustment for the driver, 8-way power adjustment for the passenger. The dash and the door panel combined go in together. You get the wood inlays that's going to be on the top tier, and then on the bottom you got your air vents. You got a nice little storage pocket here for the passenger side. Your push to pull to put it into drive, and you get the silver that wraps underneath it with the 8-inch infotainment screen in the center. Going into the driver's side, same thing with the touch of wood. And we still have button functions right here, so you don't have to pay for apps on this 8-inch infotainment. We do not have navigation. This is your 3 wedges, so you would have your Apple CarPlay, Android Auto right here, your audio sound system, slide it over here. You have Wi-Fi, you have your trailer lighting, which is nice because this will test everything for your brake lights and all those goodies. Slide it over, and for your cameras. We do have full trajectory. It is just a reverse camera, and then you have your trailer for the tow line. Storage tray here on the driver and on the passenger side. In here with a USB-C, a USB-A port, and you have your 12 volt. Dual climate control settings in the front. Elbows are nice and soft. Open up inside, it's a deep storage. You can pick this little thing up and you can fit a huge purse if you need, and you can move it around. And you also have that extra storage that's on the top. Steering wheel is multi-function. You get the silver that's going to go all around it. The gauge cluster can go through an array of information for the driver in that center TFT display. For the door panel, you're going to get some soft materials with the wood inlays, and you get that silver. One touch up and down for the front windows, and I do like how nice and cushiony it is here for your elbows or your armrests. You got 2 tiers of storage. Let's see how we look in the second row. For the second row, you're going to gain over an inch because we don't have that at 38.9 inches, 42 inches of legroom. This is spot on to the rivals, and yet again, the price and value, the width in the interior feels wider than the Wagoneer because of the way the door panels are more sleek. 2 USB-C ports, a home plug, and your 3rd climate control with cup holders right there. Storage behind both of the front seats. The floor nearly completely flat. Plus, we have cup holders here in the center, so you are taken care of pretty much on all perimeters. The only thing is my dimensions, I kind of have to sit like this because it's so wide, but that's nothing to complain about because I like the space. For the door panel, you get the wood. The same segment that's in the front is in the back. Nice and plush back here. 2 tiers of storage. And I like the silver that goes into the speaker. And the air vents are in the ceiling, so you can feel it. You can rotate this seat up, which is pretty much, I would say, right here for the dimensions that I would put to sit into the 3rd row. So I will have optimal space, plus I have it here. If I move it all the way, it's not going to be too much of a difference. My legs will be against the seat. So mid-range is the best, and you can also recline these back pretty far as well. Let's see how I look in the center. Sitting into the center, headroom is still no issue, nor is legroom, and this is in the middle range. So if it was even further back, same thing. Air, I can feel it all around me because the air vents are in the ceiling. Nothing's getting blocked except for my center ports. But the main thing about these vehicles is sitting into the rear. So what we're gonna do is see how I look back there, and it's a simple thing. All you do like this, one more time, and look how easy it is to get into the 3rd row. Same thing, closing it and moving it back. It puts it in that medium position, so it makes it easier for me to sit back here with 38.2 inches of headroom, 34.9 inches of legroom. The Wagoneer will be the best, but that vehicle is also longer. So for the size of this one, it outdoes every single vehicle in its competition. On the panels, it's going to be harder materials. It does sit up. There's nothing to rest my elbow here in the center. Cup holders on each side can fit maybe a 20 ounce, and you have another little pocket that you could either fit a smaller phone or another bottle. USB-C port on both sides. The window is kind of behind me because they put that style right here. Do I feel claustrophobic? Not really. The air vents are in the ceiling, LED interior lighting, and 8 passengers that can fit in. Let's see how I look in the center. Sitting into the center, headroom is going to be the same, and the same thing for legroom. Not really an issue, except if the seats are back. If they're back all the way and you're on the right side, your feet is going to be on the sliders for the seat. So it's going to be a little uncomfortable for people on the right side of this vehicle. But if you're sitting in the center on the left, you're not going to really have too many issues, except the panels come inwards. You lose about 4 inches on both sides, so it's going to make it a little bit tighter on the width. And to get out, just slide back over here, pull the lever. It's going to push that down, pull the lever again, and it's very easy again to come in and out of the Tahoe, unlike any of the rivals. Taking the 2023 Chevrolet Tahoe LS out for our test run, V8 with 355 horsepower. 383 pound-feet of torque, 10-speed automatic transmission, 15 to 20 mpgs. Doesn't necessarily sound like a huge number, but you got to think of the size of this vehicle in fitting 8 passengers. A 0 to 60 at 7.5 seconds with the quarter mile at 15.8 seconds. So it's not going to be the fastest, but you're going to stress on a luxury ride because of the 4-wheel independent suspension, which they did in 2021 when they did the full refresh. As for the way the vehicle feels, it does feel a bit tall and wide, but it goes over everything smooth, quiet. I mean, for an everyday drive, upgraded 22-inch wheels. You do hear the exhaust note, no dual pane windows, but the sound dampening is really good. Vibrations in the cabin, you don't feel too many either. So I do like the fact that they've pretty much cleaned up the whole interior and exterior, and that refresh was a big deal for 2021. Give her a little go. And some brakes. Now the brakes are going to not be as tight as you would necessarily expect, but you also have to consider, again, the weight of this vehicle. So if you get this thing moving, you might want to consider your stopping distance. Now there is 3 things I like and 3 things that I dislike. Is anything more than that, I'd be buying this vehicle. The 3 things that I like starts off with the 3rd row. Going into it, it is the easiest in class. It's a 2-pull method. I'm not a big fan of doing 2 different things to make it work, maybe make it a little bit simpler, but I do get what they're doing, and I like that it's easier in this. The second thing that I like is the exterior style. Nothing can compare to the style of these vehicles, and that's why they're so unique, because on the exterior they give that sporty element, and then on the interior they give you all of the luxury and capacity that you need, which brings me to the last thing that I like is how much storage you have. This thing is encased with storage. Every door panel, every center, great job. Turn radius at a stop point. It's a long vehicle, but you're getting 3 lanes. Let's rock and roll. Three things that I dislike. I know I said I like the storage capacity in the interior, but in the cargo area, I wish it was more underneath the floor. The second thing that I dislike about the vehicle goes into the 3rd row where you sit on the right side. The seat rails are right where your feet is, so it does make it a little bit uncomfortable, and you have to share space with the center in the 3rd row. The last thing that I dislike is in the LS. You don't get the upgraded screen, you don't get the digital reader, the 13 cameras. I'm gonna just keep sounding like it's a lot, but when you go to the LT, you start getting these things standard, and I'd like to see that, because when you go to the rivals, they have all of this amenities. Obviously not in the base. It's just, it would be nice to see some more newer gauges. The dynamics, it's gonna obviously feel a bit boaty, but independent suspension is finally in this vehicle. And they've done this now for 3 years, which is a good thing because that also gives you that extra cargo space in the back. Plus it gives you some more playfulness and a smoother ride. As for blind spots, you're going to have a few, but it's not necessarily too bad because you got blind spot monitoring. You have frontal collision, and when you start optioning the driver assist, that adds your adaptive cruise control. So you're starting to get features. Yes, you're gonna have to pay for some of these things, but at least you're not having to pay for them monthly. You buy it once and you're done. Some of the rivals, it's starting to get that way. People cut you off, you can still see them even though you're sitting higher. So I do like the ground clearance because it feels a lot more than 8 inches. And the steering wheel has a touch of weight to it. It's not overpowering in the sense of an everyday drive. So I do like the blend. It's not so artificial either. So you can feel impurities. However, going over them, very smooth ride. The seats are nice and comfy, and you have a pretty decent bolster to it too, so you're not moving all around. I'd like to thank Morgan Chevy for giving us this 2023 Chevrolet Tahoe for our car review. If you're already a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Hawkeye community. If not, what are you waiting for? Click the next video, the subscribe button, check out the details, merchandise website, and everything we do here at Hawkeye Rides.